Coming up on OTH, Raymond and I are covering the latest and greatest roster swaps of the LCS before covering week 4 of the summer split. We hope you enjoy episode 19 of On the Hunt. Welcome everybody to episode 19 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast filled with drama. I'm your co-host Chris, aka Lil Wayne, because I've been sipping on that scissor lately.
Whoa!
And by that I mean like high fructose corn syrup, as in like I've been drinking a lot of soda and Coca-Cola.
I thought you were gonna say like you had a cold or something and you've been, just chugging cough syrup.
Yeah, chugging Tylenol to fall asleep. I know people who do that, which is don't do that, by the way. And joining me on my podcast, well, not my podcast, it's our podcast. Joining me on our podcast is our other co-host, Raymond. How's it going, man?
It's good, dude. I was worried there for a second, like, shit, did I miss a meeting and I got relegated to just a guest appearance or what? But
yeah, dude, I own majority shares in this company, I guess. So you lost your say.
Fuck. It sucks to learn this way. But now this is the content that we need. This is my live reaction, guys. I have to go through all the thoughts in my head.
What's going on, man?
Not much, dude. I've just been chilling. Another week. It's been fucking hot.
Yeah, these past few days have been 100 degrees where I live. It's been pretty hot.
But we're getting through it.
You been playing any games this week or last week?
Dude, I've been losing a lot of ARAMs this week. It seems like, last couple days, just whatever happens in ARAM, it's just always a loss. Never lucky.
Sometimes I feel never lucky too, but maybe I'm part of the problem. But probably not, but maybe. I've been playing a lot of ARAMs too. I probably played maybe 40 or 50 ARAMs over the past weekend. So yeah, I'm kind of back in it.
Holy shit, wait. That's a lot of ARAMs, dude.
It's a lot, probably too much, but you know what? We have fun. We have fun around here.
What about, did you do Clash, dude? Or nah?
No, I haven't done Clash in 5 months probably. What about, have you done Clash lately at all?
Nah, it's been a while too. Actually,
yeah, dude.
Check, maybe. This doesn't show what the date was. It's been a while. It's hard. Clash is at such a weird time for us too. I feel like I can't do it and eat dinner at a reasonable time either.
True. I feel like I'm down, just nobody invites me, so maybe I'll sign up to be a free agent or something, and then I'll meet some friends through there, and then we'll just be lifelong buddies for the rest of my life.
I think you have to be actively applying with free agent, to be honest, because I've put myself, I think I've marked myself as a free agent the first time that it came out, and then I've never got a single invite to a random Clash team. Nobody does that.
Or maybe you're just not wanted.
I mean, that could be. It could
be.
Nobody respects my. I have a platinum or unranked solo queue rating, but then I'm still in tier 1, and they're like, this guy must be ass. We're gonna get the bottom of the barrel shit.
For sure. All right, we can jump into our topics to discuss for this week. First up is that now that Marquetter's gone, they've got a new place to post their Riot League of Legends official patch previews, and it all comes from the new LOL dev Twitter that you have now showed to me, that aggregates all of the different writers who post different previews for the projects that they're working on, whether it be patch previews or the specifics of a champion tuning or something like that. It all gets put here now, so this is where we can go for to see future patch information, and then maybe interact with the developers as well as the patch team or team members. So I guess that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems pretty nice. I think it was just a week or two ago that I remember I think LS tweeted something. It was hey, does anybody have a list of all the writers who are active on Twitter and post stuff like that? And then somebody was like, you could put it together. He's like, oh, maybe that is smart. And then Riot actually released it a week later.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing that. So yeah, that's where we'll go to next week. Well, I mean, yeah, next week we'll cover the preview, and then that'll be the real patch. So moving on, we can just go right into the spicy stuff with all of the roster changes that happened last week. Moving into the week 4 of the summer split of LCS. First off is that Sven is now back as a starting AD carry for Cloud9. Are you happy or what?
I mean, yeah, dude, honestly, yes. I still don't understand what the fuck the reasoning was behind Sven was. They kind of were quiet about it. Nothing has come out that I can remember about it, besides presumably he flamed the fuck out of Blabber for inting for Crab at MSI over and over.
But is that so bad?
No, that's the yeah. I mean, exactly. Like, why would that be what gets him benched? Somebody like a top two ADC in the region. Like, why
Yeah,
would he
dude.
get benched for that?
I saw that Travis Gafford actually came out with a bunch of interviews today, I think, and one of them is with Zen, and the title literally says like what really happened in parentheses, can't say much. So it's like, it's we'll probably never get to know, but this is probably the way that it should be. And
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a good segue into the Dignitas video of them explaining what happened with their team and how they're going to start Acadian. And pretty much it was like a 2 minutes and 30 seconds exactly video on Twitter in which I guess a guy who works with Dignitas, he
He must be like
talked
the head
about,
of league ops or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And he talked about how they benched Dardoch and that he's no longer with the organization. And he said it in a way in which he kind of presented it as if something happened at the studio and that other people must have seen something that Dardoch did, because he said something along the lines of what Dardoch did last Friday was unacceptable and like we won't allow that to reflect upon our organization. It's kind of along the lines of what the gentleman with Dignitas had said. So what I'm thinking is that whatever it is that Dardoch did that is so bad, it must have happened at the studio where other people could have been around to witness it, rather than like in the team house setting or some other kind of private setting or during some sort of like VOD review, especially since initially he was benched. He played one game on a Friday and then Acadian had came in the very next day. So I'm thinking that on the fateful day of the week 3 Friday, something must have happened at the LCS studio in person after their game that day that caused the benching and eventual organizational kick of Dardoch. You have anything to
Really,
say?
you think I feel like you're being a little. It's a little conspiracy. I don't know. It sounds to me like Dardoch mouthed off and got fucking pissed at his teammates or his coaches or whatever on after that Friday game, and they just decided, dude, you can't do this shit. I guess I had no thought in my mind until you said it that it was something about like because he did it in person. It sounded like it was just egregious enough that whether it was just that management guy was there and saw it and was like, we can't fucking have this or what, like they decided that he was kicked. But I mean, you could be right, but
Yeah,
it seemed
maybe
it
I'm.
seemed a lot more. This seemed a lot more to me like the most like without saying like outright. Yeah, Dardak told us all to go fuck our moms and kick rocks and like he's done with us or whatever. Like this seemed like the most straightforward like benching announcement of anything, like without saying exactly the words he said, they were pretty clear. And like he did some shit like after Friday's match, and that's not gonna fly in our org.
Yes, yes. I think that honestly they could have not said anything, and we would just say like, "Oh, Dardoch's being Dardoch," and then like we
Yeah.
would just leave it at that. But the way that the video was framed and the way that he said it, of like what he did on that Friday was unacceptable, and it's like that's just where my head goes. And then like it's kind of weird that he like him and the like organization like chose to put out that message, because it's very well crafted, and the whole point of it being 2 minutes 30 seconds is them like being very conscious of like what to say in the video and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
It's
And
obviously it optimized for social media engagement, right?
yeah, is what he said. And so in the end, they're still playing Yusui and Acadian, and long story short, Dardoch is not even with Dignitas anymore. Moving on with other roster changes, another person who left their team this week is Team Liquid Jat, the coach, who put out a message on Team Liquid stating that he is self-resigning. And then alongside that was a message about Santorin, who is kind of taking like a medical leave or is on a break right now as a player to resolve possibly some medical issues that have been plaguing him for a long time. And then so for the foreseeable future, Armeo will be playing. And then additionally, they clarified in the statement that Alfari is still on a break up to June 27th. And then
Which
we'll
was
see from
yesterday.
here. Yeah, which was yesterday. And so we'll see whether or not he's going to come back from here on out. But Jenkins seems pretty good for now. Anything on the whole TL situation?
I don't know. I think it's a little surprising to see Jat just leave. Like, it's telling that stuff happened. I think the fact that if it's true that like Jat resigned, I think it's probably more on like of his own volition, you know what I mean? I think it's probably more on like the way the rest of Team Liquid staff handled this. Like I think that if it was actually like still beef with like whatever was going on with the team, you know, I feel like that's probably not what happened. He had
Mm-hmm.
some like in his Twitter posts, like there were still some amicable like parting words with like other some of his players. Like I think Tactical was one who like responded, and that seemed, you know, like it wasn't like the whole team voted him off the island kind of thing, and he realized like his time is up. But I think it was
Right.
more like they had some issues, and however Team Liquid decided to handle it, like it, and whether it was them withholding whatever the complaints were that we might have heard from players, or them like just putting like letting all the PR burden fall onto Jat's shoulders with the whole Alfari stuff. Like I think that was just kind of him getting out of a hot mess.
Yeah.
But
I don't really put. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't put too much thought into it, and thinking now, like I don't even know if it really matters. Like I put more faith in the players on the team rather than their coaching staff. Like the players are more important to how their gameplay is going to go. I guess if you know what I mean. And so,
yeah,
and I don't even know who the head coach is now in the
it's
first
cold
place.
now.
Oh, Colt, the
Cold.
jungler.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
Formerly known as Trashy. Good
oh,
name
really?
change,
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
for
Good
him.
name change. Also came to NA, and then So yeah, I don't. I think it's surprising, and I think it'll be interesting to see if Jat will still be part of the League of Legends scene, or if he's gonna do some like sneaky crepo stuff and like operate under a different name for a while, but or like work for a team but like, not be announced, like the guy who is on TSM currently is. Do you know who I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
case. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
K's, yeah, K's. So yeah, I guess I'm more interested to see what happens from here on out. But yeah, sucks that Santorin isn't going to play right now, but hope he gets better, and we'll see what
Yeah, I
happens with
think
Arvari.
yeah, I think that that's the big issue I feel like for Team Liquid now is that they lose Santorin. You know, like if the stuff that was up with Jat, you know, whatever, like I think that you can figure out how to operate without a coach. Like most league players, like probably know what to do without a coach or pro players. So they can deal with, you know, whatever shit an interim head coach is going to do with them. But except maybe like the game against TSM, it's hard to lose or it's hard to win with that draft. But you know, I think that with guys like CoreJJ and Jensen and all that, they know how to play the game still. But having to play with a different jungler, and you know, especially someone as good as Santorin, is probably still rough to have to adjust to, especially long term. But we'll see. Also, I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. I watched some of Alfari's stream today. He streamed today, like, and I mean that today is like most teams' off days, right? Monday. But I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know if he's back on the roster. I haven't seen anything that's like, okay, Alfari's break is over. He's in. You know, like nothing like that. So we'll see still on how he fits in.
On a brighter note, we had some more rewards going on this weekend. First off is Contracts from EG Academy got to play on the main roster in Saturday's game versus TSM, in which he went deathless, so he currently holds the best KDA in the whole LCS. This one was kind of surprising to me because I actually didn't even know that Contracts was on EG Academy. I thought he was with 100 Thieves. So kind of surprising that like, you know, somebody who's been playing for probably like almost 5 years now, right? He's just sitting there in Academy still. And I guess maybe he's still looking for his shot with a main LCS roster. And he's been behind like good junglers. Like I looked it up last year. He was on Academy behind Meteos until they benched
Mhm.
Meteos, and then he played in the main LCS. And then this year he moved to EG, so he's on EG Academy behind Svenskeren. So I don't know how much more spotlight time he's going to get, but it was just a one-off game, and so Svenskeren came back for the Sunday game afterwards. What do you think about the whole like rewarding Academy players kind of thing? Because we'll get into the next one with FlyQuest, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
I don't know. I think we talked about it a little bit last week or at least or the week before, whenever it was that IMT was doing it. I think it's a great idea. Like it seems like what teams should be doing, especially with the extended summer split and full combined season. Like the one loss, if even if it is a loss, right? If you're assuming your academy players are doing well and can perform at least up to LCS, like average, which in the case of contracts, he proved well above that. But if you figure that they give your team, at worst like a little bit worse chance than playing with your starter, then why not, dude? Like you have 45 games on your record. You only have to be top 8. You're watching Golden Guardians and FlyQuest and CLG all battle over who wants to be the ninth spot, right? So I think most teams probably have an easy time making a 1 week sub decision. Not a big idea. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea in certain contexts, which is most of the time. However, I'm kind of like bringing this through to the FlyQuest rewards from this week,
Oh my gosh,
so to
did you hear
speak.
that? That was like fireworks. What the fuck? Okay, go ahead.
No, I
Sorry.
didn't hear anything. No. Anyways, yeah. So also this weekend, FlyQuest decided to sub in not one, not two, but three people as a reward for playing well on Academy. So they subbed in Kumo, former top for EG, and then also AD carry Tomo and support Diamond versus GGS on Sunday. And I believe like it was said to be told that they're like rewarding these players, and that got me thinking just now that like the whole rewarding angle is kind of like a sly way of getting around like, well, what we really want to do is we want to try roster iterations T1 style with like the 10 people that we have signed to our organization, and we can
Sure,
just say
yeah.
like that we're rewarding people, and then like the fans don't like the fans like don't outrage in a way when you end up losing and like mixing up rosters and like seemingly like having spur of the moment kind of changes, so to speak. So that's kind of where I'm going to be like the devil on the shoulder in this situation and kind of a negative Nancy. But am I reading too much into that?
I think maybe I think you're not. It's not totally wrong. Like if a team was doing this and they found like if FlyQuest won that game and thinks like, oh shit, yeah, like now like this is the roster we're gonna play, like they're so good, like you might as well. But like I don't think most teams are probably gonna see that as like that angle, like, oh, we can do this without like all the heat. You're still like you still I think a big part of like what was wrong with like T1 stuff, right, is that all the players hated it too. Like I don't think that that's saving you as a team a whole lot. But yeah, I don't know. It could be, but I probably not would be my thought.
Yeah, maybe I went a little ham on that. But yeah, that's going to be all the roster movements that had happened last week. And then, so before we talk about the summer split, we can do our picks of the week first.
All right.
I'm ready to go if you want me to go first.
Yeah, go ahead. You take it away real quick.
All right, dude. So for my pick of the week this week, I've just been playing a lot of ARAMs this lately, and basically I have like an internal list of like champions who like if I get that champion, it's a fucking wrap, you know?
Hmm.
Like the win rate of like me getting certain champions is probably like over 80%. And so this list contains mostly range champions. So like Kaisa, Ezreal, Jace, but sometimes like Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, I feel like if I get those champions and like the rest of the draft is kind of okay and my other four teammates aren't chimps, then like
Hmm.
it's gonna be an easy game, or at least I'll feel like I contribute like more than my fair share of overall team damage and that sort of thing. And so my pick of the week this week to add to that list of champions who like if I get this champion, this game is over, is gonna be Irelia, dude, because I got Irelia a couple times throughout this weekend, and I think I got like two pentas throughout Saturday and Sunday. So I feel like that champion is like just kind of not fair with Snowball. It wasn't designed to like be balanced around it. So being able to just like get onto people so easily without having to use your Q, and then like being able to Q everywhere around the minions and that sort of thing, on top of
Hmm.
like having infinite lifesteal with just one item, and never like feeling like you're too low to fight. I really is just way too good in ARAM, it feels like. So you needs to have like an ARAM specific nerf, to be honest.
Okay, I can see it. My only question is, I know, I think one of the games you played, as you say this, one of the games you played, I remember, was when I had logged onto the client and saw you in an ARAM game, and the timer was at like 31 minutes, and it was an ARAM game where you had Aurelia. So you have to tell me if Aurelia contributed to that, then like I don't want to play ARAM with you while you're playing Aurelia if it means a 30-minute game.
Okay. Hold on. behind that, so what happened in that game was I did get a penta in that game, but the other
Uh-huh.
team also had a champion where if you get this champion, it's a wrap, and it was they had a Samira, and so that's a sneak peek of like what's coming next to my arsenal is like eventually I'm gonna get good enough at Samira where like if I get this champion, the game should just be over. I feel like Samira is that strong in ARAM, and I feel like there's a couple other champions like that as well. Like, I feel like some people are like so fucking good with the collie. Like if you get a collie, it's over. The enemy team like can't do anything.
Akali is not balanced in ARAM. That is actually the one we had a patch last week. If you didn't look at the ARAM balance patches, which normally you shouldn't, like who cares? Akali got buffed in ARAM last patch, which is not okay. That champion has been OP in ARAM for like the last year and a half, it seems like.
Yeah, but admittedly, my Akali is not that good. So we'll work on it. We'll work on it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, Aurelia, I like it.
I
I like
really
it. I mean, ARAM specific, respect, but it's interesting that you unintentionally segued into my pick of the week, which is Samira. And now this one, I've actually it's bad. It's also bad for me. Any of my friends who've played with me this last week will know that like I only lose on Samira, and it's not been good. But she's actually so much fun to play. I know that like Sneaky and Double Lift have been playing her like decently in the last couple patches. One thing I watched a little bit of Arrow's stream last night. If you I don't know if you watch any Arrow's stuff. I know we talked about his like YouTube channel a while ago, but I honestly I don't have enough time to watch that often. But apparently there's like a build like a Korean build to do you rush Stride Breaker on Samira, which I only learned about like yesterday or the day before with the new patch where they've removed the dash but like given it a giga slow. And so I'm gonna be griefing some games in the next couple of days playing Stridebreaker Samira for sure.
yeah, I definitely want to learn how to play Samira more as well because I'm honestly like the way I'm not used to how her skills work yet. So first of all, what I need to know is like how do you go from nothing to S, and obviously it's some sort of like auto Q auto E Q W or some some I don't know it is the point, but it's probably
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Secondly, is I need to get used to how long her W cast time is because I feel like I cast W and then I expect to do something right after, like auto or Q, but this she's still like swinging the sword or something, and so that has fucked me a few times. I'm not gonna lie, and then just understanding that like after you have like two or three items, if you cast ulti, you're gonna kill somebody. That's actually so strong, and I just haven't played enough Samira to know her breakpoints yet. But Stridebreaker does sound like fun, dude.
yeah. I mean, like I was trying to find it because part of me was like I Arrow streams late at night, so I'll tune into stream like before I go to bed. So if I'll only catch like one game at most, right? And I was like looking in the chat, and people were like, "Arrow plays Stridebreaker Samira," like going like the cringe Twitch chatters that just spend their whole time telling someone to play this new build, whatever.
I
But I
know
was like, is
exactly
that
what you're
really?
talking about, by the
I
way.
was like, is that really a thing? And so then I didn't think about it then, but then I looked it up. I was like, okay, I don't know how much Twitch chat was trolling me, but I know that Arrow did it, and I know that Twitch chat was telling him to do it. So I looked it up, and the first, if you just Google it or if you YouTube it, there's a video of Showmaker doing it like 4 days ago. So this new patch. So I mean, I know Showmaker's only recently become an ADC player, but it's got some traction to it for sure. So it's legit. It's not just me making up a build. I swear.
Do you think that like I mean we're gonna have to go try this right away, but like do you think it adds to her like score, letter score?
I don't think it does. I highly doubt it. But I
Because that would be
do
crazy,
think
right? If you could like E Stridebreaker QW or something like that.
yeah, I think it would save you just that like you could I think I'm not gonna sit here and try and talk through the whole thing, but you would save like maybe like one auto proc where you could do something like you could just EQ onto somebody and then auto stride breaker auto and not have to waste W, stuff like that. It would be a little funky. But I don't think it would. But I think it'd be super strong. I think it's super strong probably against like a mobile ADCs or like low damage ADCs, like where if you're saying like you're against an Ezreal or something, right? And usually you can't just like E onto Ezreal because he's gonna E away, right? And then just disengage the trade and now you don't have your cooldown, whatever. But if you can E onto him and then stride breaker and then he's slowed so you can still follow him up after he blew his escape, like and then you can continue the trade, get your S rank, get your ulti off, whatever. Super OP. I can see it, but you also I imagine you have to do like less damage, but who knows? Maybe it's just broken.
Yeah, another thing is that Doublelift was saying that you can cast Gale Force during Samira ulti, and that like that's useless information because you're always going to build shield bow. But I wonder if there's any
Yeah.
other like weird interactions with that as well. If you could cast Stride Breaker while you're ulting, and like maybe something stupid happens. Maybe it like removes her, like maybe it removes her like her movement debuff or something like that. Like who knows? But or and maybe it probably just makes her character model look really funny as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe it doesn't even like stop her ulti. She just like casts Stride Breaker in the middle of it. So we'll have to go try that out, and then yeah, I should spend some time with her, even just in practice tool, to get used to all the cast times and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's on you, dude. I've got Mastery 5 on Samira already, so like I know what I'm doing. Speak for yourself.
Yeah, dude. Another thing, while we're talking about Samira, two things. First of all, apparently, there's like patch data out there that says like Samira has like the highest percentage of pentakills in the game right now. As it like
Okay.
out of all pentakills in the last 4 patches, she has gotten
Uh-huh.
the most. And number 2 is like Master Yi, obviously, and then like those kind of
Interesting.
champions.
Interesting.
I think number 3 or 4 is Katarina, obviously. So like those out of all the champions, Samira is number 1 around the world, around the known world, because who knows where to find Chinese statistics. Um, that's not even a joke. That like I don't know where to find that stuff. But so anyways.
Yeah, that's I mean you're right, but also like I haven't tried to find it, but no, I know what you mean.
Yeah. And then number 2 is I was kind of mad because I was looking at the Space Groove Samira skins, and the default Space Groove Samira shows the most skin. But the chromas, she puts on more clothes. So that's bullshit that you can pay for chromas and like never mind. Let's just move on.
All right, dude. I get it. You're thirsty. It's fine.
All right, let's talk about some LCS Summer Split Week 4 that happened on patch 11.12 for the second week. So next week should be on the next patch. Coming up in first place, we have a tie between 100 Thieves and TSM at 21 and 9. Notably, 100 Thieves has won more games this summer. So 100 Thieves in the Summer Split are 10 and 2, while TSM are 9 and 3. And that difference just happened this week since TSM went 3-0. Or sorry, 100 Thieves went 3-0. Next up is C9 and TL, who are also tied at 19 at 11. And for the summer stats, C9 is 6 and 6, while TL is 7 and 5. Next up, we have Evil Geniuses at 16 and 14 for 5th place. Right behind them is Dignitas Quantum Pay at a sweet 15 and 15. Notably, they are 4 and 8 this summer, so it kind of shows that they're giving room for the next people online to catch up to them, which is Immortals, who are 1 game behind at 14 and 16 in 7th place. Yeah, 7th place. And they've been doing okay so far. They're 7 and 5 for the whole summer split. Next up, tied for 8th and 9th place are CLG and FlyQuest at 9 and 21. Notably, both of these teams went 0 and 3 this weekend. That's the second time in a row for FlyQuest, I believe. And then lastly, in 10th place, we have Golden Guardians at 7 and 23, catching up to 9th place, who are also 4 and 8 for the summer. I'll work on that formatting, but basically, the top 5 teams, actually the top 7 teams are all pretty close. Actually, no.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've finally broken off into little packs. You know, I think like the end of spring kind of ended up with everybody in playoffs was like really close to each other, right? Like, but when summer started, I think 100 Thieves or Dignitas EG were like the bottom 3, but within like 2 games of C9. And now we finally now we're 3 weeks in, right, or 4 weeks in, and we finally like split everybody into like some clear packs. TSM 100 Thieves C9TL are like our top teams, even with C9TL looking a little shaky, but they're all within a couple games of each other. Then you got Evil Geniuses, Dignitas Immortals, all within a couple games of each other, but a few games back from the top pack. And then CLG, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians just fighting to make the last playoff spot. Seems like, I mean, there's still obviously 5 weeks to go, but seems like this is what I'd expect things to still like shake out in, and just like people are practically battling for seeding.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would be very surprised if Evil Geniuses or Dignitas slip into the top 3 or even 4. And so I pretty much agree with you that it's going to be split into 3 packs, and within those 3 packs is just the order of how the teams end up being. But don't be surprised if like the way that the standings are now, that these are the teams that are pretty much going to go to the summer playoffs, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And it's just a toss up between CLG, FlyQuest, and GGS for who gets the last spot.
Yeah, a shame. It seems like just a week ago we were so hyped on CLG, dude, and then they came and drafted 3 games in a row where they're still trying to play the same comp that they went 3-0 on last week, and they just get bodied in 3 games this week. Feels kind of bad. Like I would have thought, if they kept it going and it still worked, it was just an OP comp, they'd be right up there in the running for that middle of the pack. They wouldn't even have to worry about FlyQuest, who's obviously imploding, and Golden Guardians, who, let's be honest, has little to no chance.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. They did try it again. They were trying to play like Vi Galio and a lot of Kled, I believe, this past weekend, and so didn't turn out so well for them. And then speaking of picks, I decided to finally look up what are the most picked for week 4 of the summer split. And so to go over this, Lee Sin and Jin Zhao have 100% pick and ban rate of 15 games. So every game somebody's playing or banning Lee Sin or Jin Zhao. Next up at 12 picks are Karma, Rumble, and Gwen. Sorry, 12 picked or banned. So all 3 of those champions have 80% presence throughout the weekend. And then behind them at 11 picks and bans are Akali, Callista, and Set. Notably, Akali is banned 9 times and only played twice. So there's very few circumstances that she is left up. And if she is, then like not a lot of teams opt for her anyways. And then next up we have Ezreal at 0 and 10. Notably, one of 2 AD carries on this list next to Callista. And then lastly, we have Nocturne also at 10 picks. So it's pretty interesting meta that we've shaped out to be where like, and we'll probably talk about this a lot more, but like champions that like weren't that much meta last split, like Lee Sin, Jin Zhao, and Nocturne, are kind of coming into the mix. And then even from there, they're like popping all around the place. Like Jin Zhao is pretty much jungle, but then Lee Sin can be a flex between mid, jungle, and top. And then apparently for 100 Thieves, they can even let FBI play it as well. So maybe we can talk about that more if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like the Lee Sin pick in particular, or just the way things are shaking out.
The Lee Sin pick in particular, I think it was pretty, like, that's pretty cool. I don't know how much of a difference it actually made, but like in the end, it's pretty cool that he could play it. And then like from now on, he's like, it's a potential like thing that like if you pick Lee Sin like first or second pick in your draft, it could be the AD carry who is going to end up playing it because he's done it
Yeah.
before. Like it's kind of dumb in that way, but like if they ever wanted to like do that, so like show that like, hey, this guy can play Lee Sin and like we've kind of practiced it, then like, they can just do it in this game and probably get away with it anyways. So like I think that's pretty funny. And then also
Yeah.
like it shows like how strong Lee Sin is, that like it's a contested pick and worth taking away in such a fashion that like you kind of have an innovative draft because of it.
Yeah, I don't know. That one, I think it struck me a little bit as, I mean, I think it's kind of a Senna only thing, right? I think the way I see it is more like teams probably could pick more things with Senna than just like the Tom Kenches that we've seen in the past, I mean, it was just this week or the week before where 100 Thieves also picked Ziggs and Senna in the bot lane, right? Which you and I know is also a very good lane combo.
Uh-huh.
But like I think that's like that champion just on its own, like because you still have like a marksman presence and you can get away with kind of having a champion in like 3/4 that come out of the bottom lane instead of like a champion in the half that you usually get with a ADC and support. Like I think that really like shakes up your draft a little. But like if you really went into a 100 Thieves game and worried that they were gonna pick Lee Sin bottom again, and you didn't want that to happen, then I think you just have to pick like Senna, and it kind of ruins like the idea.
Uh-huh. And I guess another pick that's just been surprising to me is that we keep seeing like a lot of lane Nocturne. We saw a bit of it last split with Huni playing it, I believe, but then it's just being seen a lot more with like top Nocturne or even mid Nocturne. So it's pretty cool that like that he's there, and then you can go with him for like a pretty strong AD with a global presence in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think he's been a pretty interesting pick. I think one thing that is important to note, like especially as we look at like the numbers that we've seen in this patch, in terms of presence, is that with this last patch, with all the mobility item changes and all that, I think that this is probably the most likely time for like a pretty considerable like meta shakeup. I think a few players have kind of talked about it and expected it. So now it's probably pretty likely that we'll see. I think there was a Reddit post that talked a little bit. They had some faulty logic on some of the picks, I thought, but talked a little bit already about how the latest patch has kind of ruined or trended for different champions that were high users or frequent users of like items like Stride Breaker and those things that have since gotten nerfed.
Yeah, I'll look forward to next week when they're going to change patches to see if if the picks are going to change up with the whole movement changes and especially the stride breaker change as well.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I bet we'll see a lot less. I don't know if Nocturne is one that does get affected, but I imagine we'll probably see like less set presence. I don't know. I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to think what. But probably Gnar gets a little less play in terms of just presence, but he's already kind of fallen out a little bit. You know, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Another interesting pick that came out this week is that Huni played Mundo on their Sunday game. It didn't seem too crazy, but it's kind of cool that he pulled it out. Other than that, pretty standard week. Oh, I noticed that like Jensen on TL, he played 3 straight games of Lee Sin middle, I'm pretty sure. And so yeah, it's just shaping out to be like a super strong pick at this time of year. And I wonder if it'll still be that way going to Worlds. But this seems to be the meta right now of like playing really strong, even AD mids. And if you want to play, if your team likes to play mages, then you can. But there's a lot of variety in a weird way.
Yeah, I wonder because I think what we saw this weekend, right? Like the one thing to note was definitely like 100 Thieves going 3-0 and just like how strong they looked. And Abadage in particular was looking really good. He played Azir a couple games and just was like his game against Immortals was just he was hard gapping Insanity, who was playing set mid, and like those, like my thought is probably like if I had to just guess, and like I don't know that much about like mid meta, right? But like if I had to guess, like I would think that one thing that would like keep champions like Azir out of the meta would be something like set that would be just like I don't think he's like that good. Like obviously, if Azir gets to his items, I think that you're still like so much more useful than Set in most situations. But it'd be so annoying to have to play lane against it, and especially when he has Stride Breaker and could like really start to shut you down at an earlier time than like you'd want to, and get your team really head for dragons and just have really crap priority and stuff like that. Having that option taken away and forcing teams to go back to more traditional mages or mid laners than the melee mids that were or bruiser mids that we've kind of seen. That I could see that bringing back a lot more of the long range mages, especially with the item cost reductions on mage mythics.
Yeah, I think Oriana and Victor are still playable right now, but yeah, I was really surprised that Abadage played Azir this weekend, and he looked really good on it. I agree, and they look good as a whole, and
Yeah,
they get to innovate with like the weird Senna stuff as well.
yeah. 100 Thieves definitely coming out as if it was totally recent, I think 100 Thieves is like the best team in the LCS right now. I think they've gotten away a little bit with being able to play like their own style. Like I think they've been really good, obviously what they've been doing. But it seems like each week they've kind of come into it with like the like one strategy prep, kind of like CLG. You know, like or at least they have like a pretty similar idea of what's going on in most of their games. So if it's I think it's like not as obvious like how to beat it. Like CLG, like Immortals picked a really good draft into their dive comp and just kind of shut down what they were trying to do. I don't think 100 Thieves drafts are quite like that, and I think they still have a lot of room to outplay it, and they have really good players, so they can get away with that kind of thing. But if they continue, it's hard to tell like if they're just drafting the same thing because that's the only thing they can play, or they're just doing like what CLG might have been doing, where they were like, well, we're just gonna play it until someone beats us, right? Like they go into week one, they pick Karma mid 3 games in a row. They go into this week, they're playing a lot of Azir, the Bruiser bot lane, stuff like that. You know, like we could it'd be interesting to see how they do as we head towards later in the season when teams feel more confident in their play style or the read on the meta or having to go into best of 5 series. That it'll be exciting to watch them continue to grow.
Yeah, that's interesting when you think about it that way. That like for the first round robin, they were playing a lot of Karma, and then at the start of this week 4, they're playing a lot of Azir. And I wonder for week 5 and week 6 if he'll keep playing that kind of style. And then week 7, 8, 9 is going to kind of start playing something else. Are they going to keep trying new things with Reaper as their coach? Yeah, so I think their direction is really interesting, and it's exciting to see them keep trying different things and still doing pretty well with it as well.
Yeah, other than that, dude, what did you think about like C9 and TL this weekend? I feel like this was they both ended up with a 2-1 week, but they were in kind of dire straits the last couple weeks with how with the roster changes and stuff and just a few bad losses here and there. They come out of the first round robin both not great, but not neither with losing records, but I wouldn't pin either of them as favorites for the finals yet.
Yeah, I think I was able to catch a bit of C9's game on Sunday, and I believe they were struggling to kind of like set their foot down in a game versus a bottom four team. And I think they still managed to seize out the win, but like for the first 20 minutes, it was kind of a strange game, and you don't watch them and feel like they're as strong as they used to be back in the spring, or that they're very dominant in dominant form. As for TL, well, this is like, was Armeo in
Yeah.
last week as well?
Yeah, I think
Like for
it's been
week
at
three.
least two. Yeah, it's been at least two
Yeah,
weeks
I feel like
since Alfaro's
yeah.
been out.
Well, to start there, I feel
Or
like
sorry,
Armeo has been playing good.
yeah,
Was
actually,
Did Santorin play for week three?
he he might have played for week three. Maybe it was just Armeo last week, because that was when the announcement
True,
was
true. Okay.
last week. Yeah, so maybe it was just this last week that Armeo was in.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think Armeo and Jenkins are playing really well together. Maybe those two have spent a bit more time in academy, and as opposed to Armeo and Alfari, who may not have been as acquainted with each other beforehand. And we'll
Right.
see if Alfari continues to come back to this team to play with Armeo. But I think Armeo was playing fine in the TL games that I had watched. I actually watched my first Pro View game, watching Tactical on Friday, playing Varus, and that was the most boring fucking game of my life. And it was like actually so uninteresting, and actually very like kind of worrying sometimes, like watching his camera angles and like seeing that like sometimes he doesn't pan over to see that like somebody's flanking him or something. It's kind of worrying, but also it felt like he's just having kind of a lot of fun, and like his team is just gonna carry him this game, and it doesn't really matter. Like I'm playing Varus, I'll do my part somehow.
Yeah, dude. Let me tell you, Varus is fucking brain dead when you play it in competitive games. I still remember when we played it like in college. That was like those were such boring games to play without Varus, dude. I swear to God.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like TL is doing okay, and then I think C9 is still trying to find their way again. And it's a totally different meta from what they had won with last split, and Sven has just come back to the main roster as well. So I wonder if they'll need a bit more time to adjust. And I think that it'll be a good segue into next week's games, which are actually going to be pretty interesting because each of the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, each day there's going to be a top four team playing another top four team. So to get into that, on Friday, I'm going to look out for 100 Thieves versus TL, the first game of the day. That's going to be an interesting battle between first and third. And we'll see if 100 Thieves drops down to second place or if they secure first place solidly. Next game I'm looking at on Saturday is going to be TL versus C9. So TL looks like they're going to have some rough matches next week. And
True
so yeah,
justice skill.
this is gonna pretty much determine if TL is gonna stay in third or possibly drop down to fourth with those two games. And then lastly on Sunday we have C9 versus TSM, and so again that could be the deciding factor between whether C9 breaks into the top two again next weekend, or if they're going to stay at 3 and 4 during week 5 on the new patch of 11.13 with the movement balance. And so I think next week is going to be really interesting, and they play on July 4th if that matters to you.
Nah, not really. I mean, I don't know. This has the LCS ever taken off like holidays like that? Dude, they play during like the Super Bowl. They don't give a fuck.
That's true. They don't give a fuck. Any other games that you're looking forward to next week, or if there's something you still want to talk about from this week of LCS?
No, I think we actually hit probably most of the points on LCS. None of the other teams like did anything crazy. Evil Genius is still just like looking good, looking bad in some games. They're pulling
Uh
out
huh.
wins. They're 6-6 on the season or on the split. That's like exactly how you'd expect them. True coin flip team. Yeah. Otherwise, I think Immortal's still looking good. Yeah, I think we hit them all. I think for this weekend, as I think that's probably who I'm looking for the most. As like obviously the top teams are going pretty hard against each other right now. Those are interesting matchups for sure. Like the ones you pointed out between TL and the other 100 Thieves and C9 in those games. I'd look also to IMT's schedule this week. They're playing similarly some strong teams. They got C9 on Friday and then TSM on Saturday. And then also on Sunday they're playing against Dignitas, but that's not quite the same caliber at this point in time, I think. But they're looking pretty good. I mean, if it was just by summer split, right? Immortals would be tied with Team Liquid for third place right now, if it was just summer split rankings like of old.
Uh-huh.
So I think they're in the conversation for like current top three, top four, if it's just off of recent form. So it'll be interesting to see them play against teams like C9 and TSM, see how they fare, see if they can pull off any upsets and continue their streaks. We also saw, if we remember, the last TSM Immortals game was just a couple weeks ago, and that one went fucking hard. So hopefully they pull out another banger.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that like they're gonna play all three of the teams are gonna play against or above them in the standings, and then potentially they can even overtake Dignitas if Dignitas end up having a bad week. And so yeah, we'll have to see where Immortals ends up at the NEV next weekend, and it's gonna be pretty pivotal to their ending summer score how they do this week.
Yeah, and this will be our halfway point for the split too, right? Like
Practically,
we
yeah.
basically halfway, right? We'll cross the halfway point at some point, though it's undetermined. So it'll be, yeah, I mean, we're getting close, dude. It's already summer. I can tell you, we already said it. It's fucking hot outside, dude. It's basically summer. That's how you can tell.
Yeah, actually, that just kind of hit me that like the summer split has gone by like halfway already, and it actually does. I feel like LCS just came back in a weird way, so I'm kind of surprised that we're pretty much almost there to playoffs already. And then the playoff schedule will probably extend it, and it'll probably be like 6 weeks long or something, and I'll feel like the summer split takes forever.
Right.
But yeah, we're moving fast here.
All right, dude. Anything else? You got any predictions? Is there going to be some other drama that's going to happen this week before LCS starts?
More drama, dude.
Who's the next roster change? We can't go a week without a roster change, right?
Yeah, dude. If I had to guess, I'll probably say that. I'm gonna go with EG having a roster change just for fun. They're probably gonna take
Golden
out.
Glue comes back.
Yeah, probably something random like that. No, I mean pretty much just take a look at who's gonna play TSM. You know what? If
The
IMT is
sub
gonna play
buff.
TSM, then yeah, they're gonna sub somebody in for the boosted chances of defeating them. No, I mean, I don't really want to continue seeing. Like it's a meme because literally every week, like some sort of team, like multiple teams have roster changes. It seems like maybe last week it was not as many, but I don't understand. I kind of don't want it to be as volatile as it is in terms of like teams, a lot of teams changing up different factors week to week. When it seemed like in
Yeah.
the spring split, it was extremely stable. Like probably the most notable changes were just Pull Belter out and then back in, and then Broxa finally getting there. Like those were the most notable like
Right.
changes in spring split. And so I hope the roster madness is over from here on out. But it would be pretty fun if things keep going and more players continue to be rewarded. What about you? Do you have any? Would you place any bets on who's gonna have the next roster move or coach change?
Dang, that's tough, dude. I mean, you know what would be the best meme is if TSM Jat became a reality. They just pick them up off the street. They recreate the double lift trash intro video where they find Jat in a dumpster and he just comes out and all he can say is TSM, TSM because he's TSM Jat. He's just been brainwashed. And then he comes back and then the next time they play TL, they draft completely to stomp Alfari and piss him off and then that's the full circle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, what if he just goes to start working for TSM and they don't announce anything, but they accidentally show him in like the background of TSM Legends or something, and you're just like, holy fuck, was that Jat there at
That's
the
Jat.
TS?
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's why I'm interested to see what he'll do from here on out. I don't think he'll go back to casting, but we'll see. It seems like, of course, he still has all the connections there. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll
I
see if he
think
continues to continue coaching as well, and if that, or maybe if he's just done for the split, and then we won't see him until next year. I don't know.
I think my bet, if I had to make like a conservative guess on what he would actually do, like if I'm trying to be real life here, probably he takes this split off from coaching. Like I don't think through playoffs he probably doesn't do any like actual team related coaching. Maybe he goes back to doing the Joshua Leesman experience podcast thing, just doing some like freelance content work. Probably I wouldn't do anything for like 2 weeks or a month. Like probably whatever's been going on at TL, I would just be like, fuck League of Legends, dude. If anything, I'm just gonna go play Udyr in the jungle, That's Jet's kind of thing. Just run around. brain off, spam ranked, and then like he could get masters or whatever and feel good about himself, and then come back and do whatever you want. But then like if it gets to worlds and some team not named Team Liquid like wants to hire on like some additional analysts whatever for worlds, then he could go do that for a team that makes it. But I would take it easy for now.
Yeah, I agree with you that that's what he should do. I mean, definitely he's not going to come back. Like, he's not going to come back in the head coach capacity for the rest of the year. I don't see that ever happening unless he goes to like Brazil or something, you know? But
True.
yeah, I wouldn't
What
be
if he goes
surprised
to
if he
what if he
like,
goes to EU? We've stolen EU coaches. They can take one of ours.
true. Yeah, I see him coming on as like part of a smaller role, maybe like yeah, just like a regular analyst, not the head one, or like more so of a positional coach perhaps. Yeah, we'll see if it's anything like newsworthy or that sort of angle. Okay, and that's going to be it for episode 19 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast filled with drama and roster changes. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you're listening to us on, if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it if you would also give us a rating or hit the like button to show us some support. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. We'll see you all next week for another episode of On the Hunt. It's going to be number 20, baby.
20.